This story begins in Iran, right before the Iranian Revolution, also known as the Islamic Revolution. Nazanin Emami Hosseinzadeh was born on January 14, 1972, in Tehran, Iran, making her the youngest in a family of six. Her family consists of herself, her parents, her two brothers, and her sister. Before the revolution, she had a fun childhood filled with traveling to Europe to visit her brothers in school, attending an international school where she spoke English, visiting parks with her mom, and skiing on her ski team. During this time, Iran was westernized and ruled by the monarch Mohammad Reza Shah. Hosseinzadeh describes this time before the revolution as very similar to America. Her family supported the Shah and liked their government until 1979. That was when the new regime of the Islamic Republic, with the leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, overthrew Iran's government. The new regime caused a very sharp shift in Hosseinzadeh's life. She was pulled out of her school and sent to an all-girls school, where she was forced to only read and write in Farsi. She had to learn the language really fast in order to keep up with her schooling. She wasn't allowed to be in the same room as any boy or hang out with them, which was hard considering one of her best friends was a boy. She and her mother were expected to wear a hijab, in clothing that covered most of their body when leaving the house. One day, her mother refused to wear the hijab, which caused those who supported the new regime to threaten her and chase after her car. If these new rules weren't followed, or if anyone protested against the new government, they could be beaten or even killed. Hosseinzadeh believes that her family would have very possibly been killed if they stayed in Iran for much longer, because of how outspoken her mother was to her beliefs. As a few years went on, the family realized the new regime was only growing stronger, and they needed to move away for personal safety. At just 10 years old, in 1982, Hosseinzadeh, not fully aware that she wouldn't return to the place she grew up in until years later, packed her bag and went to the airport with her parents. Luckily, they were still able to leave the country due to their high economic status and the fact that the bombings hadn't begun yet. Unfortunately, Hosseinzadeh had to leave her 26-year-old sister behind because she had her own family in Iran. Hosseinzadeh was sad to leave her sister, but also excited to travel to America, especially since both her brothers lived there now that they were starting college in Southern California. She had been to America before and knew English very well, but the biggest cultural shock was how the girls were dating and wearing makeup at such a young age. Hosseinzadeh was very smart and excelled in her schooling in America. Unfortunately, due to her race, she was sometimes judged and discriminated against by her classmates, as well as others in America. Despite this, she enjoyed living in America and seeing her brothers regularly. Within a year of moving to America, her mother receives a phone call. At this moment, her mother has her friends over, and they are all praying together in her living room for the war in Iran to end and for everyone there to stay safe. A lot of people in her house still have relatives in Iran, and the whole house becomes very emotional. At 10 years old, Hosseinzadeh sits in her hot tub around summertime when she suddenly hears her mom scream. Hosseinzadeh begins running inside, afraid her mom has cut her finger while cooking food. But while running, Hosseinzadeh slips and falls in her pool deck. Despite her fall, Hosseinzadeh is more worried about her mother and quickly gets up off the ground. After finally reaching her mom in the kitchen, she sees her sobbing. Hosseinzadeh is scared at first, but soon realizes these are tears of joy. Her mother has just gotten a phone call from Hosseinzadeh's sister, still living in Iran. Her sister told her mother the bombings have stopped in Tehran, the city Hosseinzadeh grew up in. Her mom is on the floor saying, "Thank you, God. Thank you. Are you sure this is for real?" Hosseinzadeh takes the phone and talks to her sister, who was laughing while saying the war was ending. They call Hosseinzadeh's dad and tell him the good news. Everyone in their house is so joyful, and Hosseinzadeh finds comfort knowing that so far away from her home in Iran, she still has people around her who care so much about the safety of her family and friends. Now, Hosseinzadeh has a family of 4, with her husband, daughter Kiana, and son Ryan. She is a chief financial officer for an engineering firm in Los Angeles and loves her life in America. Through this project, I learned history books and the media, although they have good information, will never be able to actually show and explain the experiences that real people go through when a country is struggling. Furthermore, I now see how strong Mrs. Hosseinzadeh and many others who have gone through similar experiences are, and how being open with their story changed my perspective on many things. I realize I must never assume things about a stranger, especially since I don't know what they have been through. Additionally, I am grateful to have grown up in a place where I can have my own opinions and beliefs without being threatened. Finally, I understand the importance of sharing experiences in life because of its ability to display different perspectives to other people. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed a lot through my oral history project.